Good morning. Just here in the car listening to some WFMU as I wait for time to slowly pass. That's apparently a show called Wake and Bake, which is a funny title for a show on the radio. Hello. Good morning. It's February 20th, 2018. And once again, I am in my car. I just got back to New York on Sunday. I was in Los Angeles. Why do they call it Los Angeles? Thank you. Oh, Thurston Herricks, why are you awake at 4:30 in the morning in Seattle? Or is it Los Angeles? Are you still in LA? I'd be jealous if that was true. Thurston and I, who is watching, or may no longer be watching, I can't tell. We always the thumbs up. He and I had our first in-person meeting in a while in Los Angeles last week. It was quite a reunion. We had a little bit of a video game playing nerds get together, and it was a delight. It was lots of fun. The old Halo clan getting back together, reliving the glory days, dual wielding SMGs. Those were the days. Oh, there's a squirrel. Hello, squirrel. He did not respond. I don't know what it takes to get a squirrel's attention these days, but I don't got it. Oh, adorbs. So yeah, I'm here in the car. I was in LA for about 5 days. I had a very busy schedule. So if I missed you in Los Angeles, I am sorry. But I had a surprisingly full social calendar. I saw an old coworker. I saw an old friend, like a 10th grade old friend. And then I saw the Dickies. I went and saw a live concert of the Dickies. That was a good time. Unexpected. Good time. Got to see Little Tokyo. I had to have some very filling ramen. Like I barely even ate half of it because it was like, the noodles are very filling. And I just saw the Dickies, a band called Round Eye from Shanghai. It's just Round Eye. But they are from Shanghai. And they are white guys who live in Shanghai. So they're taking racist name about themselves and using it in a funny way. They were a very fun band. They were followed by another band called Black Mamba, which seemed like a decent rock and roll band. And yeah. Now the funny thing about the Dickies, so the Dickies have been around since like, I don't even know, at least 1980, probably 77 maybe. And I listened to them when I was in high school. I bought a cassette of theirs that I remember my friend Kostas hated. He just hated it outright. And I think it's because the lead singer of the Dickies has an extremely high-pitched, nasally, terrible sound. But he's actually very skilled at this kind of singing he does. It's like a machine gun. Totally bananas. But he, despite being however old he is, he still rocked, even though he had to have his, like, he was singing like this a lot of the time. But many singers are like that. And let's see, Los Angeles in general. I mean, if they could solve that traffic problem, I mean, it's all everyone talks about. The visitors talk about it. The people who live in there talk about it. And the funny thing about Los Angeles is, like, there's this mix of people who, like, clearly hate it there. Good morning, Madeline Mako, calling in from somewhere in Queens, I think. Good morning, Maddie. You want to come on the show and talk to me about your trip to Italy? Just let me know. I'll add you, and we can do a wonderful. I'm sure you're ready to get on camera at 7:36. You're ready to go. But I thought I'd ask. Northern Manhattan. So you live up by Dustin. That's the new place to move after you don't want to live in Queens. Madeline used to live maybe about half a mile from me. Oh, you have to walk. She has to walk her dog. That dog is all consuming, I can tell. Biscuit. That Biscuit Rules. That's the name of Maddie's Instagram page if you want to see more about her dog. Oh, yeah. It's true. I didn't want to say you couldn't afford Queens. But that's where people seem to be moving when they leave Queens, is gentrifying the upper Manhattan. Although, are you really gentrifying it? I mean, we both know you're part Puerto Rican, so you know if you're in Washington Heights, you kind of belong. But do people consider you a gentrifier because you are white presenting in your half Hispanicness? Okay. These are all, no one is completely in the clear unless you are full Navajo, some kind of Native American. Then you're gentrifying. I don't care. I bet, do Native Americans consider do Native Americans consider everyone a gentrifier, even, like, let's say, people who were brought here unwillingly? The S word. That's not something someone says. People don't say, don't talk about slavery, call it the S word. If you want to come and sit in the car with me and talk about your dog, you are more than welcome. Or gentrification, whatever you like. I'm in here in the morning and in the evening. So, you live. Madeline is saying she lives near the spot where Manhattan was sold for beads or a song. A misunderstanding between whoever did the buying and selling exchange on the Native American side. At least that's what I recall from my history books, which I don't remember where I heard that. But it was just like the concept of like owning the land was sort of like a over the head kind of a thing. Imagine there's a prize. Imagine it. I was talking about, speaking of gentrification, I was reading this morning about this like super old black community that was in Brooklyn 500 years ago or something like that. They were saying it was a Weeksville, not 500 years, but Weeksville apparently was a 500 person community, all African American back then. I don't know if they probably didn't use that term. That apparently was swallowed by gentrification once Brooklyn became the outer borough of Manhattan. Instead of being the 13th largest city in the United States. That seems like a bum deal for Brooklyn, but whatever. As far as becoming, when Brooklyn became part of New York instead of being its own city. But, it was interesting that there's only 3 buildings left from this period in time. They had to be preserved, and now you can go see them. I had no clue. All this history right underneath my nose. So, back to L.A. I was in L.A. and I went, they have this great thing there called the Bird, which is like an electric scooter, like the kind that you push with your foot, except you don't. You push it with a finger. And is it expensive? I mean, it was 15 cents a minute to drive it, but considering that everything in LA is like a million miles apart, and you don't always feel like riding back, whatchamacallit? Well, you don't always feel like taking an Uber, and you don't always feel like taking, they have bikes there. I joined the bike share, so I was riding bikes around. But, yeah, so you just like take your phone, and this is my phone case, it's not my phone. You take your phone and you go like, bloop, and it unlocks the scooter for you, and you just get on it and ride. And it shows you how much power you have. So I was riding around Venice, California, and I went to get some food at a German sausage house that was like super good. And when I left, someone had taken my bird, so I was like, fuck. And when I finally found a bird, it only had like 28% power left. So I was like, whatever. I was trying to get to the goddamn post office to get myself a box. And so I get on the bird, and I'm riding it, and I get about like a third of my way to where I need to go, and all of a sudden it just refuses to go any further. It was going slow. And then, so I was like, shit. All right, well, I'll plug the thing. Then I look at my phone, and it only has like 5% battery left. And I'm like, oh, well, if I'm going to get an Uber, like I don't even know if this is going to last long enough to get me an Uber. And so I'm walking, and sure enough, my phone dies. So now I'm in Los Angeles. My phone is dead, and I need to go to the bathroom. So it was like this amazing storm of bad things happening while I was in LA. But it was sort of an adventure. I ended up going to a Walgreens, buying a battery pack that comes pre-charged. So I was able to get my phone back online, go hang out at a Starbucks, use the bathroom, which was a fine bathroom. Didn't look like, I tried to go to the bathroom at a gas station, so I wouldn't be like just taking up space in a Starbucks. But the guy at the gas station told me, in an accent I won't imitate, that a big mess had happened in there, and someone was cleaning it. That it would not be available until the mess had been done. Now, when we talk about the weird transgressions that people do with their poop in the bathroom, it's a mental illness. What else? I was going to say, so Los Angeles was lovely. It was fine. The driving, of course, makes no sense. If they could ever figure, yes, literally a shitstorm. Mark Spurley, aka Lear Boy, who has sat in the car with me, chiming in. Good morning, Mark. Yeah, if they could figure out the driving thing, I'm sure it would be lovely there. I did take the train to go see that show in Little Tokyo, and it is remarkably uneventful. Like, just pretty much cut and dry. Get on the train, get off the train, get on the train, get off the train. Walk, go see a show. There was a funny point in Los Angeles where on the way to see this Dickie show, we were sitting on there, and like these four, mildly threatening only because they were sort of young adults dressed in all kind of like, heavy metal gear. These four Hispanic gentlemen got on the train, and they were like, yeah, we smell like weed. What the fuck? Who cares? And, everyone had to kind of laugh about that because on top of being mildly threatening, they reeked like weed. But that's the three smells. That's my experience in California, is that there are three smells. There's fresh air, where you're kind of like, even though there's, a lot of automotive particulate in the air, there's sort of like, clean air, blue skies, and then the smell of weed, right? So at any given time, you can walk around and be like, someone be getting high around here. And then the third thing is that you're like walking around and you're like, that is human waste, or just unwashed human, because there's homeless people everywhere. So, you know, I'd be like riding my bike and then be like 3 people passed out on the bike path, and it'd be like, ooh, and it would smell not great because they were probably using that whole area as a toilet. So it's just this sort of weird, you know, maybe there's a plant that I don't know about that I was smelling instead of what it smelled like. But yeah, I'd say those are the 3 smells in the part of California I was in. I'm sure there are other parts where it only smells like weed and fresh air, or just weed. Never just fresh air. It's either fresh air and human waste, fresh air and weed, or nothing, or all 3. But never just fresh air. I don't care where you are. It's just a fact. So yeah, it was an interesting trip. I did venture into one of the establishments that does sell legal marijuana now. It's not everywhere. It's a misconception. You know, me being an East Coaster, I was like, hey, why don't I stop in, see what it's all about? But it was not easy to find one that actually had a legal license. They have to sign up for a legal license, and it's all rigmarole. But it was an interesting experience going in there. So many different ways to consume your marijuana products these days. I chose, they put it like this tincture on a dude's knuckles, and then they punch you in the eye, and it gets in your eye that way. But boy, what an experience. When you wake up, you're super high. Yeah, it was fun seeing my friends and all that nonsense. I talked to a lot of people telling me how they feel, wanting to know how I feel. You know me, I don't share any of my personal feelings. I'm all bottled up. Wait. I thought this lady just got out of this car. It's like, it's too early to get a new car. You're going to get a ticket. She's just walking a dog. She wasn't in that car. So, yeah. Apparently, it's spring break for kids this week. I mean, for my kids, it is. But, so there's not a lot of car action. There's still some people who haven't moved their cars yet. It's pretty late in the morning not to have moved your car. I'm trying to think of what else. Well, my flight out to LA, I had the unusual experience of having an actually friendly and mildly chatty seat partner, which was, and she wasn't a crazy person, so that was nice. Despite the fact, as Mark Spurtle knows, that I was upset that there was no USB charging station in the plane, because it was an older plane. And on my flight back to New York, also again, no USB, no laptop power. So I did have to watch my iPad. I had charged it ahead of time, and I used my flying time to. I watched all of Altered Carbon on my trip both ways, and then so many crying emojis from Mark Spurtle, a pilot who has to endure, entitled crybabies like me flying and being like, wah, and he's like, I'm just trying to fly the plane. Just leave me alone. There's not enough things I like on the plane. Wah. Look, if the stewardesses would change me, this would be completely a moot point. But they refuse. And I most certainly made a boom boom. So I needed to be changed. Why won't these stewardesses change me? Yeah, so I watched Altered Carbon, which was enjoyable. Had some super cool things going on in it. Some fun storytelling. And then I also watched the rest of Big Mouth. I hadn't seen Big Mouth, the cartoon about puberty and whatnot. Pretty funny stuff. And it gets very weird as it goes further along. Yeah, kind of got heavy, but also got kind of surreal, which I enjoyed. This is my hair. I was trying to hide it underneath my my hood because I'm ashamed. It's a great shame. Plus, my hair always does crazy things. It's interesting. My entire life, which is not a great portion of my life, but whenever I do attempt or have attempted to do hair care products in the hair, it always ends up looking the same. I have I have many issues, but one, if I try to wear nice clothes, I look like I rolled down a hill, and people are always having to fix my collars and shit because I'm oblivious to it. I'm gonna put them on. I'm like, yeah, I look nice, and then I don't know, an hour later, someone will be like, oh my god, let me. And then, that my hair won't do what people want it to do. So or I want it to do. I was thinking about when I was my son's age in high school, I used to, every morning, try to make my hair spike up on the sides, because I knew it wouldn't do anything in the middle. So I'd take stiff stuff, hairspray, and spray it on there, and then take a hair dryer and be and it would be like, and then by the time I got to school, it would be like, so it would look like, not quite like one of those little, like Mexican boxers who makes the crown of thorns out of their hair, but it just looked sort of funky, and it was crunchy and gross, and then I'd spend the whole day kind of rubbing the crunch out of my hair. Rubbing the crunch out of your hair is not a term you hear very often, but it was just a phenomenon. I remember when I was my freshman year of college, I got a mohawk, and not like a real mohawk, the woman who made it for me, I wanted a fin, the classic, straight down the middle. The woman who did it for me wouldn't do that. She was just like, oh, your hairline's weird, it's going to look funky when it starts to grow back. So it was more like the whole middle of my head, like that. And she got it to stay up, and it was ridiculous and whatever. And then I was I had to come to the realization that I would never have the patience to put it back up. Just oh my God, this is a nightmare. I have a few photos of myself with the stupid haircut, but and I think was it that? No, I don't think it was. I don't know. Whatever. I dyed it. I bleached it and dyed it. It was supposed to be aqua turquoise, but because my hair at that time was so black, they wouldn't really bleach out. So it would look like, yellow straw. And then, so the aqua turquoise came out looking more like Sigmund the Sea Monster green. But, it wasn't really the result I was hoping for. But, yeah. And then I remember I came home for Christmas that year, and my mom was like, I went to a family Christmas party, and people were like, oh, your mom warned us you had a mohawk. But I didn't have it up because I was too lazy. So I just had a big green streak of hair coming out the back of my head. But I will say this. At that time, I went to go see Kool Moe Dee, the rap man from Treacherous 3. And with my cousin Dan at a club, I don't remember the name. It was in Milwaukee. And I had my mohawk, but I kept it under a painter's cap. And but I had it coming out the back of my hair, there was still hair coming out the back of the thing, and I had to endure women yanking on it the entire fucking rap show, and it was a Kool Moe Dee's first solo album tour. What the fuck was the name of that club? I thought that was the club, the C Club or something like that. Yeah, the whole show I'd be like, and all these, black women would be like, oh, ha, ha, ha. They really thought it was rather entertaining to just wholesome random dudes. Strange, I guess they thought, I don't know if they thought it was a ponytail or what, but that concert got shut down because they were over capacity. They had sold too many tickets and let too many people in, so the police shut the show down. I think like 8 songs into Kool Moe Dee's set. That sucked. That whole show sucked. I remember there was some shitty local rapper that was there, and I had her EP because I was dumb and would buy whatever rap albums came out back then. There was a lot of real garbage, similar to today's rap music, in its shittiness, not in its rap stylings. But yeah, I remember this guy at the local record store that was African American focused would always try to sell me shit records. And then one time the owner interrupted the salesman who was like pressuring me to buy something, and I was just like, no thanks, I just want my De La Soul album, which you've never heard of, but you're gonna sell me. And the owner came over and was just like, leave this guy alone. He knows about hip-hop, he knows about rap, he doesn't need you pushing terrible records on him. Let him buy the records he wants. And I was kind of like, oh, feather in the cap. But yeah, it was a good. It felt good. But I was riding my aunt's Free Spirit bike all the way up to like, what was it, Capitol and 17th or something like that, to go buy rap records. A different time, don't you agree? But yeah, it was that rap show with the Kool Moe Dee show. It was such a weird experience because I mean, I don't even know how many rap shows I had seen by then. I mean, plenty, but I guess they didn't tour like they tour now. I saw Fresh Fest 2 in Milwaukee as well as Kool Moe Dee. I don't know. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Where was rap playing when I was in high school? I have no clue. But when Fresh Fest 2 was in Milwaukee, and I was in high school, that's where I saw Run DMC, Houdini. It was pre-Beastie Boys. What I'm trying to say is that I'm old. I died. Anyway, I'm going to get out of the car, because now I have to get out, take my kid to Dungeons and Dragons camp, which is happening during the middle of the week during spring break. Come back and hopefully have my kitchen repaired by the guys who installed the floor poorly. Praying. Say a prayer. Throw a prayer to the sky. Or to the ground. It doesn't matter. Prayers are nonsense. Okay, that's going to do it for me. I'm unbuckling. I'm turning the car off. And then I'm getting out of this car. We'll see when I got to move the car from this side of the street to that side of the street. 5-ish. PM-ish. In the car-ish. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.